Several organizations have committed to helping men improve their mental health. To give us an idea of what this entails, we're joined by Katleho Sekhotho, who's in Craigell Park in Johannesburg. Good morning, Katleho.
A very good morning, Dudu. Indeed, we are here at a non-profit organization called Matrixmen. And as the nation marks Father's Day, it's really the day is about understanding that the struggles that men face and the struggles that fathers face in their journey of fatherhood. And, you know, such an organization as this one looks at the overall mental health and wellness of men, because what we know is that some of the grim statistics as it relates to, parenting, is that what we know is that almost 4 out of 10 children are raised in a single parent household. And in many of these cases, children are being raised by single mothers. But in some cases, yes, some fathers have stepped up to the role and continue to raise their children. But it is a question around how can there be an improvement in the assisting of men and where the challenges lie. But I have with me Martin, who is the founder of this organization, Matrixmen. Martin, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I mean, as we mark Father's Day, it is about looking at men's mental health and wellness. Just tell us about the work that you do and some of the challenges you've identified.
Hi, Katleho. Thanks for your time and this opportunity. Matrixmen was founded in 2011, and we started off as an organization that raised awareness about sexually abused men. When we got into the stats, it was pretty grim. We found that nearly 44% of all South African men, boys, had been sexually abused by aged 18. So it's rife, it's prevalent, and the sad part is that most of the services are provided for young girls, and boys don't have a place to go and heal and talk about things. And society expects us to come from an abusive childhood and just become functional men. And it just doesn't work that way. You know, we need to provide that gap. We need to provide that service of helping boys between when they are teens and become young men, and start talking more openly about what it is that happens to young boys. And that's kind of where we started off, and it's evolved over this year. We made a policy decision to focus on men's mental health, because it's prevalent amongst men. We have the highest suicide rate. 75% of all men suicides are men. And we need to start talking about deep, difficult issues, anxiety, depression. And men, of course, aren't encouraged to talk about things. We're supposed to smile. We're not supposed to cry. We're supposed to be the provider. We're supposed to be tough. But in today's economic times, that's very difficult. So that's where Matrixmen comes in. At the moment, we're busy developing facilities so that we can provide mental health support to men, and it's going to be staffed by men, so they can phone us and say, hey, I've got a problem with my erection, or I've got a problem with my family, or I've got a problem with whatever function it is, whatever problem it is, and they feel more empowered to talk openly with another man. Yes.
And obviously, Martin, so good mental health means when a man is healthy mentally, he can be a better father and be a better, member to the family.
Absolutely. I mean, if we look at Heartlines did a research project where they were like, why are fathers absent? And the biggest issue they came up with was provision. So the biggest issue is finances. So men are the providers, men are the ATMs, men are supposed to provide for their families. And of course, the worse the economy gets, with what's at 40% unemployment or something like that in South Africa at the moment, the worse men's mental health is going to be. And men tend to dissociate from their families when they can't provide. When they can't play that one function, that one role that they're supposed to play, they then dissociate or they remove themselves from that family. And they don't provide at all. And we have a saying here that says, kids don't want your money, they want your time. So when your child is 23, 24, he's not going to say, my dad never gave us money. He's going to say, my dad was never there for me. He didn't provide for me. And sadly, the biggest issue with children and absent fathers is that we know the outcomes of that. They have a higher chance of ending up in prison. They fail at school. They fail in life. Higher chance of becoming drug addicts, alcoholics, suicide. So fathers play a vital role in the lives of children, and we need to start getting fathers back into homes and empowering them to be present, whether they can provide financially or not. They need to be there for their children, to provide emotionally, to provide physically, that sort of thing. So there's other things rather than just provision of finances that the children need from their fathers. Unfortunately, mothers do great jobs, but there's some things that mothers just can't do.
Another question, Martin, is, looking at the government interventions in assisting, if you look at gender-based violence, you can't speak about fatherhood and men and relationships and not consider gender-based violence and all these things that come from unhealthy situations. Do you think that there isn't enough provision being made by government in helping the boy child and helping the man?
Well, point out one situation where government actually, besides going to boys at schools and saying, don't rape or don't beat your girlfriends, there is no provision for the mental health and stability of young boys. There isn't any that I can think of. There are some organizations that are starting to come out now, like Matrixmen. There are others, Father and Nation. These guys are starting to do really good work. And we're starting to notice a need to provide that for teenagers. But government doesn't do anything, really. They talk about it. They don't really do anything. I know in the Western Cape, the governor of the Western Cape, or what do they call him, he's now started an initiative where they're actually starting to counsel young boys and help them, and that's important, that's vital. If we look at the statistics that 44% of all boys aged 18 have suffered some form of sexual abuse, we need to start providing that. But the problem with that is that those boys are 4 times more likely to perpetrate a rape as well. So we need to fix those boys before they become the GBV statistics, before they become the rapists and all that sort of thing.
Martin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. You heard it there from Martin, the founder of Matrixmen, here explaining some of the challenges that young boys and men face, and this obviously results in poor fatherhood relationships and also some of the grim statistics relating to how many fathers are present in their children's lives. And the work that this non-profit organization is doing is to help men with their mental health and wellness, to inspire a generation of men who are present in their children's lives.
Thank you very much to Katleho Sekhotho.